there most certainly are times when we feel like that. When you say, I don't have any idea whatsoever of what I'm going to do to pull this out. Been in situations like that where I had deadlines I had to meet. I didn't meet those deadlines, and I lost a car, lost a home, lights were cut off, telephone was cut off. All of those things are going to happen to you at different points in life. Now, question is, what does it really mean? It really doesn't mean anything. It's not important at all. It's just a temporary inconvenience because all of those things can be corrected. And it's a part of the process that we all go through. Now, the challenge is, in the midst of all of these things, one, to stay focused on your goal, and two, to keep your expectations of making it happen and keeping your energy positive and relentlessly looking for ways in order to pull it out. And I guarantee you that there will be some intervention. What causes it? I don't know. That will seem like it's supernatural. I'll give you an example. I remember once when I lost my job, when I was fired out of broadcasting, September 18th, I'll never forget, 1978. I was behind in my house notes, and my house was up for foreclosure. I did everything I could. I had borrowed as much money as I could borrow. I had talked to family members and friends. I did everything I could, and I couldn't get enough money, being unemployed for several months, applying for job after job after job, and couldn't get a job. I couldn't get enough money to save the house, but I never felt, and this is very important, the feeling that I had, never felt that I was going to lose that house. I wanted that house. And so what I did was very uncanny. I released it. I did the best that I could, and at that time, with the limited money that I did have, I decided to take a trip with my family to go down and spend time in the sun with my children. We caught a Greyhound bus from Columbus, Ohio, and we went to Florida. By the time I arrived on the day that the bank was to foreclose at 12 noon on the house, I got a call from one of my former assistants who went by the house and called me and said, Les, it's an emergency. Call Columbus right away. I did, and Carolyn Sloan said, Les, you won't believe this. You have a check from the Internal Revenue Service on your income tax. And it was enough to pay the house notes, and I had money over. I never received a refund prior to that time or since that time, and I did not lose the house. So there are things that we don't know or understand. But we do know that if we do certain things, that things begin to happen that's in our favor, that shows that the universe is on our side. Everything that we're seeking, I believe that if we begin to align our thoughts with action, be relentless. Don't try 2 or 3 things or 15 or 20 things, but 100 things, 500 things if necessary, 10,000 things as Edison did if necessary until we find a way out. Many of us, we eliminate many possibilities for ourselves because we really don't do all we can do. I think A.L. Williams was right when he said, all we can do is all we can do, and all we can do is enough. And I think, honestly speaking, even judging from myself, and I think that my commitment is stronger than most people. But if I had to literally measure my commitment in terms of what I put forth in my dream, I would say that I might have given about 18 to 20% of what I'm really capable of. As high in consciousness as I believe that I am, comparatively speaking, where I used to be, I'm still nowhere near reaching 50% of the commitment that I can make to accelerate the growth and the development of my dream and the manifestation of the things that I know within myself that I'm capable of producing. So our biggest challenge is beginning to look at within ourselves to remove those energy blocks, because if we're not producing the income that we want, let us not look outside of ourselves, but look within ourselves to find out, how am I blocking me? Am I really giving it all that I have? Am I really being as creative as I can be? Am I really unstoppable? Am I as relentless as I can be? Am I exhausting every means possible? Am I turning up every rock to find what it is that I'm looking for? That what resides between our ears when we're thinking about how do I come up with $500, $1,200, or $2,000, It's the same gray matter that resides between the ears of a Ross Perot or Donald Trump when his bankers say, you've got 30. How is it that one man or woman can do it and do 1,000,000 times more than these other people and the other ones don't? It has to be consciousness. It has to be, and when we talk about consciousness, we're talking about a collection of our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions and experiences used as an active force to produce in our lives that which we want to produce. Because everything that exists in life, the microphones that we're speaking in, the shoes that we have on our feet, the chairs that we're sitting in, the clothes that we're wearing, the homes that we live in, the cars that we drive, all of that came out of our consciousness. That all came out of the invisible into the visible. And man was the vehicle, the outlet to produce that. Wherever we are stopped in our dream, we stop to the place called willingness. Anybody that has fallen short of their goals, they ran into something that they were not willing to handle. Because in order to reach your dream, in order to make things happen, there must be a willingness to do what is required. If the need is to raise $2,000, and let's say you have a set of tapes for $40, are you willing to make 200 calls a day? Are you willing to stand on a corner and talk to people and say, listen, I've got a set of tapes here that can change your life? Are you willing to make the commitment that you will not go to sleep until you sell at least 10 tapes a day? Are you willing to say, if it takes me 12 hours walking and talking to people all day long until I find 10 people that will say yes, if I have to talk to 200 people or 300 people, that in order to provide food for my family, to provide shelter, to not to have creditors hounding me, am I willing to talk to 300 people a day? Am I willing to stand in an airport and sell tapes? Am I willing to go out and make calls again and again and again? Am I willing to knock on doors? Am I willing to do that? See, if we have some skill, some ability, some knowledge, or some product, then the only thing that's between us and what we want to generate is our willingness to expend the energy to produce the results that we want. Am I willing to wash cars? Am I willing to scrub floors? Am I willing to wash dishes? Am I willing to go out and speak or do seminars or workshops? What am I willing to do with my energy, my time, and my knowledge to produce the results? That's the bottom line. What are you willing to do? And what most people don't realize is they don't give up on their goals because it becomes insurmountable or it's impossible. Is that they just looked at what they wanted and they just decided within themselves, consciously or unconsciously, I'm not willing to produce this result. Are you willing to say that I need $2,000 between now and next week, and come hell or high water, I will produce that? That's the bottom line. Because the only thing that counts in life are results, not reasons of why you didn't do it, but results. That's the only thing that counts. And we are capable of producing results. That's it. That's the bottom line. Are you willing to honor your commitment to do that? What are you willing to do? How many floors are you willing to mop? How many shoes are you willing to shine? How many phone calls are you willing to make? How many sales are you willing to make? How many jobs are you willing to hold? How much service are you willing to provide? That most people don't keep their commitments. They are not willing to be a no matter what person. That I'm going to make this happen no matter what. Most people use escape routes for themselves. Most people have something that they could point to justify why they haven't produced the results. Some reason. Well, people weren't buying. Or the economy is soft. Somebody somewhere is buying. Somebody somewhere is spending some money. So as we begin to look at where we are, every time when I was working on developing my dream and I knew that I had to do something, that I had to do it, I was always able to pull it out. Because I started thinking, Walt Disney can do it. If a John D. Rockefeller can do it, then I can do it. Am I to believe that they have some license of exclusivity on producing wealth or producing results that I don't have? I think that it was a key given to us. I was reading the book called Succeeding Against the Odds by John H. Johnson. Good book. He said, for it is the most enduring element of our faith that I must conclude this speech by saying that men and women are limited not by the place of their birth, not by the color of their skin, but by the size of their hope. what is the size of your hope? As we begin to look at what it is we want to produce in our lives, I think another question could be asked, or to paraphrase what he said, what is the size of our commitment to make it happen? See, when you ask people to become a no matter what person, something inside of them begins to tremble because of the fact that we aren't accustomed to saying, I'm going to make this happen. Most people won't do that. Won't take that kind of stand and saying, I'm going to make this happen no matter what. Most people won't do that. That takes energy. That takes conviction. That takes a determination and a mindset. I'm going to do this. And I say that once you make the commitment, and that's what Goethe meant, and that whole piece he says about commitment, he says, once you make a commitment, providence moves too. All kinds of things happen that never would have happened. A whole stream of things happen that you could never anticipate it. I know that. And I think that Longfellow was right, who said, if you go to the gate and you knock loud enough and long enough, somebody's going to answer.
Now, what's the difference? I want to tell you about two men that I know. One I knew because he's gone now, lost their jobs. Two of them laid off, worked the same place. One started going out looking for a job. Other one also went out looking for a job. Something came into play for both of them that happens to us every day. It's called eyesight and mindsight. Eyesight is what you see in your life. I tell you, look into the future. What is it you want? What is it you'd like to create for you? In order to begin to choose your future, one of the things you've got to do is you've got to release your past. You've got to release your history to create a new reality for yourself. Most people live out of their memory as opposed to their imagination. Einstein said the imagination is the preview of what's to come in your life. So most people don't use their imaginations. Most people don't dream anymore. Why? Because through the conditioning process of life, after so many rejections, see, you know what you can do. You know what you have done. And you also have seen what has been done by others in your environment and by others in your circumstances. Then you look at where you want to go. And what most people do, they do that which they feel they know that can work because they've already done it or they've seen it done. And so they allow their negative history to determine the possibilities for them. And so when they run into a roadblock, even if they have something beyond their comfort zone, when they run into a roadblock, something happens to them. Guy just finished writing about this in the book. He did extensive study, and he talked about your self-explanatory style. This is what happened to these two men. Both of them worked for the same company. They were laid off. They went out looking for jobs. They faced rejection after rejection after rejection. No, we don't have any work. No, we don't have any work. No, we don't have any work. One stopped going after around 25 turndowns. And he felt personally rejected. He internalized it. He stayed home. He became angry. He became bitter. He became cynical. He started looking at television every day. Then he started having a beer and then another beer. And this guy just gave up. And his wife said, why don't you go and just try again? And he, okay, look here, there are no jobs out there. And then he became argumentative and toxic. This other guy kept on working at trying to find a job, kept on looking, and was willing to do anything, odds and ends. He just kept on going. Other guy stopped, stayed home, started feeling sorry for himself, became angry, started telling anybody who would listen about his employer and how wrong they were, and started talking about how much money he lost, and that's all he knew how to do. And he became more and more depressed, more and more withdrawn, angrier and angrier and angrier. Then he started talking to other negative people just like himself, drowning himself in self-pity and sorrow and other toxic, do-nothing, hopeless people like himself. And pretty soon, one day he got up after several months, about 2 or 3 months, and drove his wife to work. Said, look, I'd like to use the car today. She said, why? She was kind of happy, thought he was going to start going out looking for a job again. He said, yes, I am. Drove his wife to work, dropped the kids off to school, came home, drove into the garage, closed the door, left the car running, and took his young 37-year-old life.
Hey, quick little pause. Hope you're enjoying the video so far. If it's helping you out, I'd really appreciate it if you could drop a like. And if you want more videos like this, feel free to subscribe and join us. Thanks a ton for watching. All right, let's continue.
His mindsight told him your situation is hopeless. And the fact that his wife was working and supportive of him really didn't mean anything. He felt less than a man because he couldn't provide for his family. He looked at his situation and he felt like he couldn't get out. There's no hope for him. He kept on reading the newspapers and listening to the television and other negative people, and he felt there was no way out. Other guy, around 5 or 6 months later, guy who kept on facing those no's and rejections and whose explanatory style told him there must be a job somewhere, someplace out here with my name on it. He kept on and he found one. 2 men faced with the same thing. Both of them saw the circumstances they were in exactly the same, but they interpreted and saw it differently. Your mindset determines in many ways, in many cases, what you see as possible for you based upon what you've done and what you know has been done. And most people allow life to control them and their circumstances and people and events, just like the guy who took his life. As we begin to look at what we want, as we begin to look toward the future, here's what I'm saying and suggesting to you, that in order to begin to take charge of your life and to reshape your future, what's going to be crucial for you is to look toward the future, and every time you find yourself saying that you can't do something, putting yourself down, being negative about you and the possibilities for you, you've got to literally catch yourself. And you've got to affirm to yourself in the process, hey, no, I can make it. I can make this some way this can happen for me. You've got to remind yourself that you've got powers within you, talents within you that you haven't even reached for yet. That you've got to go outside of your comfort zone. A lot of things we say we don't like because we haven't even tried them. That once you give yourself an opportunity to try and to experiment with your life, to stretch, you'll find out you can do more than you can ever begin to imagine. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me share something with you. I would not tell you this if I have not experienced this myself. I used to be in an audience just like you, hearing people talk, and I just, wait a minute, there was a part of me, there was a chatter. See, 87% of our self-talk, how we explain things to ourselves, is negative. That's been given to us by life. 87% of our thoughts are negative because we live in a negative environment. We think 40 to 50,000 thoughts a day, according to many psychologists. So in order to begin to create what you want, one of the things we're going to have to do is use some tools over the next 6 weeks as you work and begin to develop a different kind of mindset for you and your future to change that inner conversation and your thinking orientation. I guarantee you that you will change the results that you produce this year and all the years to come in your life. Now, I'm telling you this based upon my own experience. How many of you were in the audience when I used to come here 5 years ago and I used to have my tapes like this in a rubber band? How many of you remember? Raise your hand. You used to see, and Jack came up stage one time after seeing me pursuing my dream. See, whatever dream you got, that dream, that idea, that has been given to you. Nobody's going to do that for you. Nobody's going to make Les Brown tapes with Les Brown. That's yours. Nobody's going to open up your store, write your book. Nobody's going to open up your shopping center, your school, your daycare. Nobody's going to create your home-operated business. Nobody's going to heal your relationship. Nobody's going to come up with that economic renaissance idea or the idea to begin to retrain our kids and create a new kind of concept and approach to education. Everybody showed up with something that's been given to you. You came here with something, and I think our goal and our challenge is to keep on till we find it. Find out what it is that you're supposed to do. And it's going to come to you at some point in time. But many times you got to experiment. You got to be willing to challenge yourself to go outside of your comfort zone and do some different things sometimes. That's where I was in terms of my job, in terms of my employment. I didn't like where I was. And so if you don't like it, you got to be willing to do something about it rather than just saying, I don't like it. Well, what are you going to do about it? Just keep on whining. Life is not for whining and weeping. Life is for doing something.
Your future is in your hands. You know what that means? You got to work on your mind, fortify yourself. You know what that means? You got to upgrade, level up your skill set. You know what that means? That means you want to be in a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships that's going in your direction. And anybody that don't have the mindset that you have, let them go. Well, Les, can I change them? No. It's a full-time job changing yourself. I was trying to help my twin brother lose weight. I gained 25 pounds. Trying to help my brother lose weight. Because when you speak and talk to people, you dilute your energy. A person who's not willing to help themselves, you can't help them. Frederick Douglass said it best. He said, why help a man stand on his feet if he doesn't have enough gumption to lock his knees? When you let him go, his head will hit the pavement. Whoa, come on. Think about that. If you're ready for a change, if you got a book in you and say, I'm in. My compilation book is going to be called The Hungry Ones. I want your story, The Hungry Ones. And then I'm going to do a speaking summit with the hungry ones. I'm going to teach you how to tell your signature story, the hungry ones. I'm going to teach you how to make money with your story, the hungry ones. I'm going to teach you how to become a national and global voice. Yeah, how I did it. And it's easier now. It's like taking cake from a baby. It's easier because of this computer. 2007, the Time magazine said the computer was the person of the year. Why? Because you can create a global business with your phone or your computer. You can learn anything on here. And now the majority of money that's being generated in the economy is done at a computer, going from brick and mortar to click and order. Listen what, and remember what Maya Angelou said. She said, there's nothing as painful as an untold story buried in your soul. When you hear me speak, you know I'm talking to you. You know I'm coming for you. There's something in you that wants to be birthed. The water has broken. There's something in you that's ready to come out. You know it.